there. This is BBN Indopes YouTube channel, and here we are today with Dr. Sarthak Bakshi of International Fertility Center, and he's featuring on our first issues cover page as well. So what actually Dr. Sarthak Bakshi does, like we will explore in the forthcoming minutes, and so welcome Dr. Sarthak Bakshi.
Thank you.
And it has been our pleasure to feature you on the cover page of Indopes magazine, which is the first issue and the launch issue as well. So let us know something about your journey as an entrepreneur. What has been your journey towards when you started the International Fertility Center, the need and the industry you are catering to?
True. So first of all, thank you Chandrasekhar for having me over here. It's been a real pleasure and honor to be featured by Indopes, and I feel that I hope I'm doing something right, and that's why I have been given the pleasure and given the opportunity to be on the cover page. Coming back to the journey for an entrepreneur, I would definitely say that it's always a difficult journey for everyone, not only for me, but for everyone. And the journey is always a roller coaster, will always be the most difficult journey that you take in your life. It will be full of obstacles which you would not have imagined. And I think, as they say, that to be an overnight success, it takes 5 years of rigorous hard work. So people think that he got lucky, he was there at the right time, he was there at the right position, all the things in the world fell right in his lap. But for all of that to happen, there were 5 to 7 years of blatant hard work required, and that's true for any field, any industry, anything. In my journey now, what do I do? If I have to tell you in the beginning that I jokingly say that my job is to make babies. That my full-time job is that we keep on producing babies. But to be a little more serious about it, it's about helping infertile couples help in conception, which they can't do naturally. So we run a chain of fertility centers. To joke about it a little bit more, that everyone would have seen Vicky Donor. So we are the Dr. Chadda in the Vicky Donor movie, just to make you people understand. And so we're running a chain of fertility centers in North India and Nepal. That was a journey that was started in 2012 and 13. And before that, I had run a couple of other ventures, failed and learned. I would never say that any failure goes without any learning.
True.
But those were my MBAs, my PhDs, my doctorates, whatever those were. The two startups, as I would like to call them, were my biggest learning, and they still have been my biggest learning. And I personally believe, and this is my 2 cents, that nothing would be ever able to give me more valuable lessons. No amount of reading, no amount of watching a movie, no amount of listening to other people's stories. But when you do something yourself, when you get into it, when you have that, जैसे कहते हैं आपके जहन में कुछ डाल लीजिए, अगर आपके जहन में आ गया है कुछ करके दिखाना है, तो वो जो चीजें सिखाता है वो आपको कोई और नहीं सिखा सकता. So learn by doing, learn by action. That's my motto. And let's see what we go. So every journey is beautiful. Consider an entrepreneurial journey to be a beautiful obstacle journey, that it's like a marathon race with steeplechase in between it. कि मैराथन में तो आप सीधे सीधे भागते रहते हैं, बहुत लंबी रेस है, कोई 100 मीटर की डैश नहीं है. असली में एक 21 किलोमीटर या 42 किलोमीटर की मानिए एक पूरी लंबी मैराथन रेस है टू बिकम एन एंटरप्रेन्योर. एंड उसके अंदर आप जो सोच सकते हैं ना, बाद में जिस स्टीपल हर्डल्स आते हैं, आपको लॉन्ग जंप भी करनी पड़ेगी, उसके बीच में शॉर्ट पुट भी करना पड़ेगा. तो योर एनी एंटरप्रेन्योर जर्नी इज फिल्ड विद, इट्स अ मैराथन filled with all the other aspects of track and field sports, as I might say. That is, if you're ready to get into that, it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
That's true. And when it is no wonder that in these 7 years small time, as a stint as a serial entrepreneur, you have learned a lot. And definitely that shows in your talk, Dr. Sarthak Bakshi. And you can see around behind us, this wall, not only this wall, there are 2 other walls are filled with lot of awards, accolades for his work. That shows the true entrepreneurial journey and the learnings he has taken. So Dr. Sarthak Bakshi, to take it forward, let us know something more about the venture. What is the need you are catering into basically? How big is this industry? and how you embarked upon this particular idea, and what has been those two other ventures which you said you failed and learned. Can you?
So
elaborate on
I'll share a brief about that. This journey came into after I had done a couple of other things. To be starting that, what I started at first was I started making games for iOS devices, Apple devices in 2010. Back then, the market was niche, or I would not even call it niche. It was completely nascent. We had started, Apple was launched in 2008, and we were in 2010 developing games. Android, which is the most widely used OS in mobiles now, was a free software, completely free. There was nothing paid, so there was no earning source, and that's why we never targeted Android. Coming back to iOS or Apple, our first game was a huge hit. We had more than 1 million downloads. It was a huge revenue generation for us. But I would say in my youth or in my exuberance, I did what every entrepreneur would does. I hired a lot of people. I started doing, in India, there was no concept as game designing. There was no concept about how to think into game theory, how to think about exponentially growing a user from the first level to the 100th level. All that was being started by us. And as you know, that in your youth, when you're starting something and when you get exuberated, when you start something with prior preparation, or when the market is not there, when we started hiring engineers, there was no one that used to learn Objective-C, which was the programming language in 2010 being used by Apple. There was no one training them, so we were training them. There was no game designers, we were training them. There was no sound artists, graphic designers up to the quality of what Apple standards were. So all of them were as a training center for us. So the point in totality is that I would like to say that we were ahead of the market curve. When we started, we were not able to keep up with Apple itself. By the time we would launch our game for iPhone, iPad 2.0 firmware would release. By the time we got ready for both of them, iPod 4.3 version would come out. And in likelihood, we were never able to keep up with our parent company, or I would not say a parent company, but our biggest vendor who we were supplying to. So market readiness is something that I would want to teach to everyone, that you can't be too ahead of the curve. Like launching an autonomous car in India, our markets are not ready, our roads are not there, our drivers are not capable, no matter how intelligent this software can be. But the driving sense for Indian drivers, or the driving sense that we see on the Indian roads, no autonomous cars will be successful. So it seems very easy that yes, something that is working in the US could work in India, but it has to make sense. The market readiness should be there, and that is what happened to us. Gaming has become a huge industry now. It's worth billions of dollars, but that is, you can now retrospectively learn and understand, but you could not probably do back then. So that was one of the key learnings that I had. The second venture was, I was again inspired by the West, and as you know, we opened a laundry app, laundry software. So now I can say that I was a glorified dhobi wala. What, as simple as it sounds, that you click a push on a button on the app, we would come to your house. If you call us at 8 a.m., we'll come at 8 a.m. or at 1 p.m. We'll come pick up your dirty laundry. We'll say that we'll wash and give it back to you within 48 hours. It will be all clean, pressed, neatly wrapped up. I'll even put a ribbon on top of it and put a 5 rupees chocolate just to impress you guys. It seems all hunky-dory. The only thing was that this idea was inspired by the West, because over there you don't have buys. And my premise of starting up this idea was that, isn't everybody tired of depending on a buy? Shanta buy, Kanta buy, and all these buys, we are waiting for them. When will they come to our home?
Yes.
कैसे धो रही हैं? And हमारी इमेज में हमेशा, what I used to think कि कपड़े वो ना धोबी घाट पे जैसे होते हैं, पटक रहे हैं, वैसे धो रहे हैं, which in reality wasn't there. But चलो, I would say that we would take more care. We would have industry experienced personnel who would be washing clothes, who would be doing a good job, so that no buy could fulfill. But it seemed nice. This idea in totality would eventually fail, because my basic premise that if you are tired with a buy, you will not come to a laundry app. You will choose another buy. In India, the manpower cost is so cheap that to replace it with an autonomous system, either the costs are as low as a buy, or the system becomes so efficient that there is a profit margin on laundry. When we ventured into, there were probably 70, 80, 100 other companies which are there. There was the price war, which has been always there. Everybody struggled, everybody made losses, and everyone shut down. Just to be fair on my part, I would say that you would see there would be a no pan-India laundry startup because the whole market isn't successful. To replace buys, there are better buys. It's not that you require an efficient autonomous laundry washing system. When there's dearth of manpower, say in the US or Europe or Australia, where there are no people as even chauffeurs or drivers or something, over there an app is successful. But in India, the buy is the most efficient system, and to get better buys, it's easy. And that is where we went wrong, and that was my next learning was that we are inspired with the West, but we have to think local. What is the local strata that requires, and what can we do to increase the demography or increase the efficiency in the system? We cannot think that something that works out there would work for us. Our pain capacity is different, our thought process is different, our way of using the same thing is different. I mean, just to give you an example, outside Uber, which is the biggest startup in the world, is driven by normal people. It's driven by like people like you and me who do this on a free time. But in India, you have proper drivers, you have proper chauffeurs. It's like a taxi system. You cannot imagine Uber that there are taxis which have now become Uber. So that you see, there is a full different philosophy in what Uber is outside in the US or Europe or what Uber is in India. There is completely Uber could never have worked if they had thought that every other layman who is just going here and there would start his own app and would start picking up riders and start dropping them. They came in as a taxi, proper taxi. But outside abroad, it's completely different. So they're smart. They could understand that you have to improvise. You have to change according to the market that you're catering. In India also, anything that works in Delhi would not work in Selampur. Anything that works in Bangalore would not work in Hubli. So every market is different in that scenario.
The markets are different, so are the need and the analysis to be done by the entrepreneur. So now, Dr. Sarthak, we would like to know what is the scope of this fertility centers in India as of now, because this current situation, the technological development and the lifestyle, because lifestyle generated diseases or like impotency or infertility is happening in the young people as well at the very early age. So what is your mainly customers base is comprised of, and what are the troubles or the problems with their lifestyle or their physical health, that this industry is booming now, as far as we are able to understand that this is going to take leap forward in a big way. So please cast some glance or some light over this industry and the need.
Okay. So as you know that infertility has been increasing for quite some time, and infertility is a lifestyle disease. There's no direct cause to it that if I do this I will get infertility. There's nothing. Most of the diseases are like that, only that you don't understand who got it, and it can happen to the best of us. I've seen that people are not able to confuse teetotalers, people who don't drink, people who don't smoke, people who don't eating non-veg, even they can have problems in conception. But that does not mean that people who are chain smokers, they're able to deliver. So there is no direct correlation, but obviously it takes a toll on your health if you're drinking, if you're smoking, if you're not sleeping on time, if you have a lot of stress in your life. There are a lot of hormonal changes which you are not under your control. So a word of caution is obviously that it's not only about the bad habits, it's about even a holistic living. If you're having certain sort of trouble in your mind, if you're not at ease, if your stress levels are always high, if you're always angry, you are undergoing a lot of hormonal changes from inside which you never know can affect your fertility levels. And just to clear a myth for you that infertility is only for a disease for the urban, that in the rural area, poor area, there is no infertility. You would be surprised that there is a massive amount of infertility over there also. It's not that only in the urban cities like a capitals that because there is a lot of pollution, people are working late hours, people don't want to get married soon, only there. In rural areas, there are a lot of factors which you don't know, such as chemicals, environmental, smoke, BD habits, the dust over there, a lot of things where the infertility is being affected, or the fertility levels for both men and women are being affected because they're getting exposed to a very dangerous environment. So it's not only that you won't find any poor people since they're producing 5 or 3 or 4 babies, but you get that a lot. Infertility is a problem, and problem faced by both men and women. Let me clarify on record that it's an equal problem for both males and females. 50% of the infertility is due to males and 50% is due to females. It's not a female problem anymore. There are a lot of issues that men undergo hormonally, or changes in their sperm levels, which cannot be explained by some direct correlation, but I would say it's a factor of half and half between both the couples, and it is increasing, and that's why there is a need of more fertility centers, because we need to maintain our gene pool. I always believe that having a baby is the most beautiful thing in the world, and everybody should experience that feeling. Over here, our job is not to give the 6th or the 7th or the 8th baby to some couple, but our job is to give the first baby for anyone that is trying. It's the most beautiful feeling that anyone can ever see. Having your own, it's everybody desires or wants a legacy to go on, or wants their part of. It seems like you have replicated yourself. The feeling for a mother is exceptional. When someone holds a child close to their heart, that love is true love. There is no denying that fact. And I want every parent, every single person, every male or female, to feel that there is no other feeling that could describe someone, or that there is no other feeling. When you want to see that, when you say love is blind, I would obviously say when you have your child, that is the moment when I've seen in parents' eyes myself, people who have been trying for years, 5, 10, 15, that just the look is purely exceptional. And that is what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to help all those couples, all those people, either single, either married, either people who have been trying, people who want to have a baby and can't have that on. Our sole purpose is to help them as much as we can.
That's wonderful feeling in the Bible, as it is saying that the children are the crown of the parents or the father. When a father has a son or daughter, sleeping at his shoulder, the feeling is immense, and that is uncomparable, non-comparable feeling. Dr. Sarthak gives me immense pleasure that to know that kind of noble thing, the kind of joy you are going to share with the people, the patients, and not only from rural or urban areas, but rural as well. And one more myth you busted today, that it is not only the female problem.
Yeah, true.
And it shows me the correct, basically if I can correlate, because India comes at 134th position in the world's happiest country. That's the reason might be the stress is eating the sperm quality, right?
Multiple.
Because multiple, as you say, multiple. But this is something which International Fertility Center is doing, and Dr. Sarthak Bakshi has embarked upon this journey. You recently shared with me that you have just opened your center in Nepal as well. So what is the situation over there as well? Because Nepal seems to be very content country, and people are very down to earth. Even there, the problem is there.
The problem is there worldwide.
Oh.
I would not say there is any one country in the world or any one place where you won't find infertility. Europe, Australia, Asia, Japan, everywhere. We Indians are lucky that we have a good fertility rate. Say we have somewhere in the 2.1 is our fertility rate. In Europe, in Switzerland, in certain European countries, it's at a declining level, that their population is decreasing. We have a lot of youth. We have our Prime Minister has emphasized a lot many times that through this youth, we'll become a global superpower. And because obviously the fertility is not as it was in the last half decade or 50 years ago, but we are surely need to maintain certain levels so that we keep on growing as a country. And as Chandrasekhar rightly mentioned, that it is what IFC does is also wants to help for people who can't afford the treatment, since it's an expensive treatment. We give 10 free IVFs every month to rural people below poverty line. We are giving them 10 free IVFs, so because it's our duty to give back to the society. I generally believe that there is no growth in exclusivity. It has to be an inclusion. If I am growing, what can I do to give it back? And for me, I can only give it back through my services, through my expertise, and that's where I want to give treatment to those people who can't afford this expensive treatment.
It gives me immense pleasure to that through this CSR activity you're helping people, like giving back to society. You are completing the chain of the trinity of accumulating, earning, spending, and sharing the wealth. That is the true wealth creation mantra given by a lot of financial coach or wealth coach as well. So, Dr. Sarthak, now this is amazing to know your journey and the learnings you have shared with the wannabe entrepreneurs. And something more, some mantra, because you have been associated with a lot of startup communities and you are heading the Delhi arm of international one community SLP startup leadership program as well. And there are a lot of, I have seen a lot of awards and your talks in various startup and entrepreneurial activities and events. So some basic mantras, 4 or 5 say basic tips for the entrepreneurs. These are the something they have to have in their mind when they start on.
True. So, as I was lucky enough to be a part of a lot of startup events and culture and share my experience. So, I've been an investor, I've been an advisor, I've been mentor to multiple startups, and I've always said that instead of chasing investor money, if you have a good product, not even a good, if you have a great product or great service, money will come chasing after you. So what the thought process these days is that just raise some funding, burn the money, get more and more users onto it without thinking about if you are actually making any money, if you're going to become profitable or sort. So I want to change that mentality. What my purpose is that if you're creating, when you're thinking about a product, you have to make the product majestic. I always use this word that, instead of saying everybody wants a cool product, but cool is very difficult to be defined. When you define a majestic product, lion is a majestic animal. There's no other. If you see lion, you're amazed by himself or lion. You are like inspired that why is lion the king of the jungle? So if you're creating a product, try that the product has to be majestic. Not cool, not good, not nice, not okay to hold, but you have to that majestic feeling.
Giving that wow feeling.
Wow factor.
To your customer.
Unless you have that majestic factor in your product, you won't be creating a $1 billion company. If you're inspired to have that $1 billion valuation, you need to have that. The second thing is that you need to create people, you need to want people to want to use that product. You don't want people to come to the product for artificial gimmicks, like come here because we are going to give this offer for cheaper than the X amount, or you can have some services through our app for at a cheaper price than that. You're only running in a rat race, that if the person is selling for X, I'm selling for X minus 1. There will be some other person who will go at X minus 2 and then you will go at X minus 3, and sooner or later 99.9% of you will bust up, and that is what you see in the actual scenario now these days also. So when you're creating a product, when you think about any service or any product, you're thinking about how to keep that customer engaged, how to keep that customer good. When there is no option, for me particularly, let me take a few examples. Coming to online ticketing, if you like to see the experience, you go to Book My Show, you go to Make My Trip, you go to IRCTC. When you go there, will you now ever go back to the old behavior of going to a movie hall or to an airline office or to a travel agent office or to the railway station to buy tickets? No. The convenience created is irreversible. So if you create an irreversible product, that is where you hit a $1 billion valuation. You have majestic and you have an irreversible product. If you're not having, if the behavior is reversible, say I give you something and I say I am only gambling on price, or it's convenient, but it's a reversible behavior. I am going to you because, but if the behavior is irreversible because of the wealth in your product, because of the majesticness or the value that you create in your product, you have gained a customer for life. I'm very sure every one of you uses Truecaller. It's a majestic product. It's free to use. It tells you the number, and there's no rocket science about that. When everybody's downloaded Truecaller without seeing any ads, without seeing anything. So that's the majesticity about it. That's the value proposition in it. You did not have to give cashbacks, you did not have to offer discounts, you did not have to create a piggy bank model here or there. The wealth was there in that product, and you see where it is. There are hundreds of such examples. When you're thinking, and nobody's able to, just to be very frank, no entrepreneur is able to hit a jackpot in the first go or in the first try. They always start something, learn, understand about the market, they pivot onto it, they change the course of model, they change the way process, the thought process, and that's how they end up to the final goal. If you think that the journey would be a straight line, it never is, it never will be. You have to remain flexible. You have to remain open to change. You have to remain open to ideas, to try different strategies. You always have to start work from above here, not from below here. It is this that counts. You always have to think that what more can I do to increase customer satisfaction, to increase value proposition, and that's where you hit a $1 billion valuation. So just to summarize it, that you have to be like water. This is a very famous Bruce Lee quote, which I'm repeating, that water can flow, water can fly, water can crush as a wave, or water can be like a tsunami. But be water like my friend. Water can fit into a teapot, into a bottle, into an ocean. So become like water. Fit, feel, or take the shape of your surrounding. And if you're that much flexible, you can definitely achieve greatness.
So those were the great pearls of wisdom from an astute serial entrepreneur, business advisor, and mentor to a lot of startups and investor as well. It's really truly amazing to see this kind of pearls of wisdom coming from a seasoned entrepreneur, that these startups who are just following blindly to some investor to burn the cash and hitting the $1 billion valuation, it's not that easy as well. But sometime if you put your mind into that mental strength and come out with some idea which is near ground reality, you can really hit the $1 billion. So Dr. Sarthak, is amazing to see that the kind of things you have shared, because lot of startups, the entrepreneurs are doing this mistake, that they hit one idea and then they start a venture and then think that they will just make it $1 million business only. They don't think that the wow experience of a customer matters. The irreversible value, the benefit given to your customer makes you the $1 billion enterprise, not the just smart or so good looking idea. So Dr. Sarthak, it has been really amazing thing. So what now, just to coming on the personal ground, how you spend your free time, how you get yourself energy, the kind of energy you are exhibiting in your day-to-day activity. I've seen your busy schedule as well, meeting and drafting things to staff and doing the daily activity list and everything. How you get this energy?
I always believe that you need to grow yourself also. You need to learn. There's always something to learn from the other person. Even when I'm advising a lot of startup kids or a lot of people who am I mentoring, there's so much to learn back from them. There's so much to learn. How do they think? How do they process? How do they see the world? My views are completely different from them, but there's always something right in their views also. There's always right in everybody's eyes. They have their own perspective, and it's good to know. So when I feel that if I have to, the energy that I have can only be there when I'm constantly learning. The day I stop learning, this day I stop changing, the day I become rigid, that this way, my way or the highway, that never works, So for me, the source of motivation is that you constantly keep meeting new people. You constantly start learning from them. When you meet new people, it's not you meet to advise them, but you meet to learn from them. And that is where I feel that I get my energy to meet new people always and learn how and what they are doing and what good are they providing to the society, what good they are doing to the world, and let me be a part of their journey. It's always good to be part of everyone's journey in their happiness, because that's the best thing that you can do for anyone.
Having said that, and because everything in this universe is made of two things, matter and energy, and the energy part is most critical part and the more important or vital part of any enterprise as well. So as Dr. Sarthak Bakshi has narrated in summarize and so well in his words and the expression he has made with the experience, It's amazing to know all the entrepreneurs here who are listening to this, or you, if you are a wannabe entrepreneur, just note all these things, these mistakes, these pearl of wisdom can help you to save millions in your entrepreneurship journey by not repeating the mistakes which lot of other entrepreneurs do. So here we are signing off with Dr. Sarthak Bakshi of International Fertility Center, and an amazing person and a serial entrepreneur and investor and advisor. Thank you very much, Dr. Sarthak Bakshi.
Thank you. Thank you.